I'm Therisa Cash. I'm a TOSA in the Vista Unified School District. I'm a math wheeling teacher. So I teach kindergarten through 5th grade at 2 different schools, Honolulu and Beaumont. And today we're going to be working with 2nd graders, and we're actually going to be doing a lesson involving graham crackers. The 2nd graders are going to figure out how many of these small graham crackers are in a package of large graham crackers. So this will be a 3-act lesson. Our first act is going to be estimating. So they'll estimate how many of these crackers they think are in here. The 2nd act, they'll be figuring out a system to find out how many of these crackers are in here. And the 3rd act will actually be counting how many crackers there are to verify the answers that they came up with. The content objective we're going to be using today for 2nd grade is adding and subtracting within 100. And we're also going to be using the 5 practices for orchestrating productive mathematical discussions. The first one is anticipating. The second one is monitoring. 3rd is selecting. 4th is sequence. And 5th is connect. Anticipating means what do I think the students are going to do when they do this problem. So my first step in anticipating is to actually do the problem. I then come up with as many solutions as I can that I think the students will be producing. Monitoring comes during the lesson. While the kids are working, I'm walking around, I'm identifying students, I'm talking to them, I'm seeing how they're solving the problem. While I'm monitoring, I'm also walking around with a Post-it and a pencil. I'm writing down the students that I think I'd like to have present their work. And then I'm going to be sequencing them. I'd like them to go into an order where I move them into 2nd grade standards. What I'd like to come last is when they're actually adding the numbers. So as I'm sequencing, I'm going from pictorial representation to abstract to actually numbers, because that's where we want our students to get to. And then the connecting is when we help the students draw connections between their solutions or strategies and the other students' solutions or strategies, as well as the key mathematical ideas in the lesson. How many little crackers do you think is in that pack? What'd you pick?
20.
What'd you pick?
10.
What'd you pick?
9.
In the 3-act math, the first act is our estimating. And one thing that happens a lot with the students, you'll notice we did too low, too high, and then my estimate. And on my example, my estimate fits in between my too high and too low. With kids, especially with the younger kids, it doesn't always fit mathematically. And that's a separate lesson that I work on and ask them what their too high is, what their too low is, and then your actual estimate should be in between there. As I get into 4th and 5th grade, I really emphasize that a lot more, but that's a separate skill that they need to work on. What should your tally marks be in groups of?
5. 4.
When I get into them doing the problem and I'm sequencing, you'll notice I had some actual incorrect math here. And that's okay, that's going to happen. There were students who did 5 tally marks instead of 4. And that was a discussion we had. Is that going to help me get to the answer? So I might bring up kids that have wrong answers, and that's okay because we want to talk about different strategies we use as we move to our most efficient strategies. 5 crackers and 4 crackers? Okay.
And it equals 10.
It does? Get out 5 fingers. And 4 fingers. How much does that equal?
9.
Great job. You just grew your brain. And then when we get to the 3rd act and we get to the answer, it's always okay to get the wrong answer. And especially in their estimate, because they all want to go back and change their estimate and make it the exact answer. But I ask them to raise their hand and show me who got the wrong answer. And then I give them a high five and say, great job, you just grew your brain. So wrong answers are okay. We want to get to the right strategy that will work every time to get to the answer. So tally marks are great to help us figure out the answer, but then when we have big amounts, what do we have to do?
Number.
Numbers. Absolutely. 3-act lessons, I think, are a great way to introduce kids to real-world problems so that they see that math just isn't something we do in school. It's how you bring in the real world and connect it to math. And the 5 practices, that's how I get the kids to move from where they are to where I want them to go. Because I don't want to be the person in the room with all the answers. I want them to know they know how to do the math, and it's not my job to give them the answers. We work together and we're a math community.